Happy Thursday, everybody. My name's Aaron Conant. I'm the co-founder, managing director here at BWG Connect. We're a giant networking group. We're going to do close to, I don't know, hopefully 200 webinars this year. I spend the majority of my time just talking to brands, trying to understand what the biggest pain points are, what they're trying to solve for. When the same topics come up over and over again, we do an event like this. So all the topics we do are delivered to us, via brands of the network. So we try to stay really, really relevant. And if you're anywhere at a big event this year, I guess one other thing is we do a lot of dinners as well. Would love to meet you in person. Let us know if you're at a shop talk or an accelerate or an unboxed or something like that. Love to meet you in person and connect that way as well. So today, the topic that's come up is the state of Amazon advertising and AI, right, in 2025, these keys to sustainable growth. And just as you probably heard Matt and I talking was around the idea of AI and where it's at and the impact it's having in a couple ways. One, on the performance of advertising, but a lot also on the cost of advertising as well. And so we've got some great friends, partners, supporters of the network at Xnurta. Previously Xmar, so if you've been on before and you're seeing it, they rebranded to Xnurta. Just all around great people and a lot of people on their staff, whether it's June, who was at Amazon and was my ad contact and ad buyer there, all the way to like Akashif, who was at Media Monks and Orca Pacific before. But they come highly recommended, all around great people. And today, it's going to be fun conversation with Matt. But Matt, I'll kick it over to you. Do you want to do a brief intro on yourself and Xnurta? That would be awesome. And then we'll kind of jump into a couple slides in a conversation. Sound great?
Sounds good. Yeah. My name is Matt. I lead the product team here at Xnurta. I'm still trying to the rebranding thing. Xnurta. Yeah. So I mean, as you can see, the beautiful Seattle. We have a good weather today. We're just uncommon in February. But today we're very excited to talk about AI. A lot of things, a lot of development happening in the last couple of months, and we're super excited, sometimes a little scared when looking at the frontier models and what it means for the future of advertising. And then we'll also have some sharing around full funnels, AMCs. Those are the topics that folks are talking a lot today. We work very, very closely with Amazon. I'm also previously ex-Amazonian on the product team at Amazon. So glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So a quick reminder to people, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the Q&A, and we'll get to them as real time as possible. But Matt, do you have a couple slides if you want to throw it up there?
Yeah.
And we can kind of just roll through that. And I guess where I would like to start is, what is, that current state of advertising? What are the new things? And one thing just in the pre-call chit chat, you have my ears perk up, as you're saying, even like by as recently as December till now, a ton of stuff has changed. So anyways, I'll kind of kick it over to you for the slides, and then we'll just, handle questions as they come in. Sound good?
Sounds good. So maybe first the current state of advertising, and then we can start to talk about a little bit about AI. So last year, 2024, Amazon ads revenue increased from, I think, $46 billion to $53 billion. So it's still a double-digit growth in 2024. And 2025 is going to continue to grow. However, most of that growth from 46 billion to 53 billion dollars are coming from what we know, the upper funnel ads, right? The DSP ads, the Prime Video ads. And then Amazon is increasingly become full funnel. And as we all know it, Amazon not only has Amazon.com, and then it has all these media platforms, let it be Twitch, Prime Videos, or even other retail media networks. That is really kind of where Amazon is pushing everyone to. And then also we see great performance as well. So DSP, what we see on average, has actually higher ROAS than sponsored ads these days, especially if you're doing a full funnel. And then last couple of months, Amazon also announced features where you no longer have to complete your shopping journey on Amazon.com. They now direct your advertising to your websites for the first time, right? Think about it, the significance. So it is becoming full funnel. It is becoming more and more about how can you target your audience versus just target keywords. And then the data we see is that if you're doing full funnel and also DSP alone, now we are seeing better ROAS than sponsor ads. So
Which is
that's
like,
yeah.
so just to dig in that a little bit, if you look back just a few years, this idea of max out, right? The PPC side, the sponsored ad side, max that out. And then the next layer was then after that hit DSP. Is that still a thing? Or are you saying, hey, if we're getting a better return, are people pulling back on the PPC side and going more on the DSP side? Or is it, hey, we think we see better ROAS and DSP because people are starting in the PPC space, and then we're able to see and retarget them on the DSP side and have like a closed loop that way. And then we'll have our first question in here and we'll tackle that. But I'd love to hear thoughts around that. And then I have a couple other things that I want to bring up too. So
Absolutely. I think depends on what kind of advertisers you are. I would assume most of the audience here are endemic customers, meaning that you're selling goods on Amazon, that the conversions is happening on Amazon versus if you are, for example, an auto brand, you're doing non-endemic ads, which is a different story. For endemic advertisers, if you're running ads to sell goods on Amazon, we see there's absolute foundation needed for sponsor ads. So you should definitely go sponsor ads first, right? Not doing DSP first. And then the reason I think for DSP now we're seeing a better ROAS is due to, I think just a little bit, the sponsor ad space is just becoming more and more saturated. You see increased CPC, increased competitions. And then you probably by this point, if you're running your ads for like a year or two, you know all the keywords you need to target, right? All the ASIN targets you need to target. So it's just becoming more and more competitive and a saturated game. Versus DSP is relatively new. There are like Amazon's constantly testing different ad types. I don't know if everyone heard Performance Plus these days. Amazon is testing Performance Plus. It's in the open beta program. It's Amazon's AI DSP AI solutions. It's very similar to Google PMax. They actually hire someone from Google to run P Plus, and of course the name is gonna sound very similar because the same product manager running that. So we see really good results from the DSP because it's less competitive.
yeah. Awesome. So question in here from Grant, is the revenue growth year over year attributed from view and click-based DSP? How do you measure incremental impact from view-based attribution?
That's a very good question, and then I will try to answer it. This is actually always a challenge when it comes to incrementality. Um, so the revenue growth, well, don't quote me on this, because I don't know exactly that is coming either from view-based or click-based. Amazon doesn't disclose that. What I knew is that most of these growth are coming from DSP, and of course, sponsor ads is growing as well, right? Just like we're seeing more and more growth from DSP in general. But whether it's from view-based or click-based, I don't know. But I would assume one thing, which is you probably see higher growth rates for view-based DSP, but maybe the absolute growth amount is still higher on a click base. Because for most folks that we work with, when they first try DSP, they try click-based DSP or like lower funnel DSPs, right? Because that's where you can see immediate results. If you're doing upper funnel, like for example, awareness or consideration, you're not gonna see immediate results until maybe 1 or 2, 3 months later. So that's my assumption for whether that revenue growth is coming from click-based or view-based. And then how do you measure incrementality or incremental sales? And then today, when we work with customers, whether it be it agency partners or just brands, we no longer just looking at DSP metrics anymore, because it's just not enough data to tell the whole picture. There you have AMC, and we can maybe talk a little about AMC later today as well. Today, to really truly measure incrementality, what we think the best practice is you run what you call incrementality testing. So you run ads for a period of time. There are a couple of ways to run. One way to run is you run DSP and then you turn it off and then compare try to take out all the other variables to see whether it actually drives incrementality. Or if you're running DSP for the first time, let's say you're running that for a month or two, you see whether that's driving incrementality. But you have also have to include organic sales into it, because DSP is driving, it's the full funnel, it's driving all the sales. So my experience, our experience with this is, if you're running already a large business, like let's say $5 million or $10 million budget a year, and you're not running any dollar on DSP, you're going to get good results from DSP if you select the right partner to work with, if they know what they're doing. Or if you're doing it yourself, of course, you need to hire someone that knows how to run it. You will get good results. If you're running only a couple 100,000 a year, maybe it's not the time for DSP yet, but that kind of depends, right? Depends on whether you already have a big brand name, or you already have really good offline presence, and you're just starting on Amazon. You might already want to run DSP, even though you're only running a couple $100,000 on sponsor ads. But overall, to measure incrementality, number one, do testing. Number two, leverage AMC. There are a bunch of models on there that you can look at the data in different ways to measure that.
Awesome. So a question comes in around DSP and how many brands are using it to drive to a direct-to-consumer site. And I'm just going to have one additional commentary on it, which I think is interesting, that have a lot of brands who shifted over the past 4 years to viewing Amazon more as a, a marketing channel. So I guess I'm not surprised that Amazon has opened that up, but if you could elaborate a little bit on it, and then how many people are taking advantage of it.
You mean the Performance Plus product, right?
Well, driving, you said you can drive it back to a direct consumer site now?
Oh, you mean that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something also very, very new. So that's called link out. So essentially, when you click on the ads, instead of driving that traffic to the Amazon.com website, it drives directly to your D2C website. And then that's also categorized as non-endemic ads. But if you're a retailer, you can of course also run non-endemic ads. It's just that the conversion doesn't happen on Amazon. Instead, it happens on your website. We have done some experiments with linked out campaigns on Amazon. And oftentimes you see the measurement for non-endemic is going to be very different from endemic, given that the conversion is not part of that kind of measurement, or you have to upload your conversion data to Amazon to make it work. So there's certain complexity running that today, and only very, very few advertisers are testing that because it's relatively new. I don't have very concrete data points on this one, so I cannot give you the conclusion if
In
I'm not
6 months, we
confident.
revisit it, right? Let's in 6
Yeah.
months revisit it. That would be
Let's see how it works 6 months. But as you can imagine, this is becoming a trend, right? Because Amazon is like, I don't care about my 20% reference fee anymore. I want to have ads revenue instead, because increasingly they cannot keep all the customers on Amazon.com. It's just not possible because people are going full funnel, right? So they're thinking about their business model in different ways than, let's say, a couple of years ago.
awesome. Love it. Just a reminder to people who have joined, drop questions in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll get to them real time. Awesome. All righty. I'll kick it back to you, Matt. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. And then, so AI. So second topic about AI. So this is a graph that's under, so this is what we call top-sys analysis. So analysis on calculating the distance between optimal results versus current results. So this is all the campaigns that are running today on Xnurta. And what I want to demonstrate here is what we see. This is, by the way, this is each bullet point, each bubbles represents a campaign or a set of campaigns on Xnurta. And the blue ones represents the AI campaigns, and then the brown yellowish ones represents the manual campaigns. And just to make this simple, what we see here is increased performance if you're running campaigns with AI instead of doing it yourself, right? Of course, it's not 100% of the case, but overall, if you look at two lines, there is a red line and there is a light blue line, dotted line, the two dotted lines. You see this is increase in terms of ROAS, because if we're looking at the x-axis as spend, y-axis as sales, this is the ROAS essentially. So this is what we see on our platform when customers are running AI campaigns versus the non-AI campaigns. The AI campaigns are achieving better results. Let me see. I see a question here.
Yeah, it says, what is the AI managing?
Managing.
Yeah. Granted, the same thought I was thinking is what is it doing? But in this case, so the question for everybody is, what is the AI managing? Is it bids? Is it setup? Is it targets, etc.? Like, what is it actually doing on the back end? Then another question that just comes in around like the training aspect of it. Anyways, we can get to all of them all. Again, everybody drop questions in the chat and Q&A, and we'll get to them.
Yeah. So right now, when it comes to optimization, which is part of the workflow, AI is managing what we call 8 different action spaces. So bidding is one of them, placement as well. And then you have budgets, you have keyword harvesting, keyword negation. You also have structural change, for example, pausing ASINs or variations is not underperforming, and reallocating, or sorry, not reallocating, pausing or restarting ad groups or even campaigns when they are underperforming. And under budget, you also have budget departing, also budget reallocation between campaigns when we're constrained on budget. We're moving low performing budget to high performing low performing campaigns to high performing campaigns, for example. So total about 8 action spaces that covers all the things you can do on Amazon today, from a operator perspective. So that's optimization, right? And then we can also talk a little bit more in maybe a few minutes about what we will be able also to do in the future when it comes to reporting, when it comes to analysis, when it comes to really understanding the big picture here.
Yeah. So is A/B testing then? Is that what it's doing? It's A/B testing outcomes, but it's doing it in 8 different directions, basically doing a design of experiments nonstop to figure out and hyper tune over time.
Yeah. So there's element of A/B testing here, but this is different from the A/B testing if you were to run it, let's say for DSP. So to give you an example, one of the testing that we're working on, maybe not strictly A/B testing, is what we call rapid testing. Is that when you first launch a new keywords that you are, just, it's a new keyword you just launched, and you start with a starting bid, right? In order for us to get the optimal bidding, we rapidly adding bidding to that keyword until you reach the optimal performance bidding. So that's called what we call rapid testing, right? So rapidly adding small increments to the bidding of that particular targets until you reach optimal performance. So that's one of the things that we do. But as you can imagine, there are so many things that you can do on Amazon ads today. There's bidding, budget, keyword harvesting, so on and so forth. All these things are controlled by different algorithms that are working on kind of optimizing its additional action spaces. And when it comes to the training part, our algorithm is trained based on what we see, because we have managing at, I think this at this point over $2 billion campaign on annual basis. And but we train the data based on the top selling or the top performance campaigns and see how operators in the space are actually managing their ads. And then we see the patterns, right? There's some patterns that we identify that will become part of the algorithms and then making those respective changes. Like bidding, for example, is one of those. Budget day partings, another part of it. So the data, to go back to the question, is trained based on the best performing campaigns, and then we run different testings in different scenarios to make sure we can reach the best optimal results.
Which leads right into, so Jenny drops in a question here. Well, is the brand setting the goals for optimization, or is the AI doing that itself using industry benchmarks? I guess the question is, how is it trained on success? And so that usually is another question that pops up if somebody put it in here. Like, can I do a new to brand metric and have it optimized for that? Can I have it optimized for ROAS? Like what?
Yeah.
You hit go, like, what is it going after, I guess?
Yeah. So today we have, for sponsored ads, we have 2 goals. For DSP, we have more than a dozen goals. DSP is much more complex. Let's say for sponsored ads for now. Sponsored ads, we have
really quick before we get in there. Are you saying that when we just because I don't want to lose this.
Yeah,
So in the platform, and this is just so everybody, like what I'm hearing from all the brands, all different tech, like this seems like the way it's going is the way to manage in the future of managing not just Amazon, but it'll be Google, it'll be Walmart, everything is an AI based trainable model like this. Is that what's what I'm hearing? Like, is this the new way that people are going to have to think about? Then you've got 6 months to get on board with this, and then I want to hear about how it's trained. But that's the feeling that I'm getting is we're at an advanced stage now with AI and ML. It can actually work. Like, can people afford not to have a tool like this? And this isn't a big sales pitch. You guys are expert in the space, but a tool like this, is this now table stakes?
absolutely. I think this is right now, this is the direction where the future advertising is going. It doesn't make sense that as the operator, humans are making all these little changes, 24/7. Like AI can do 24/7, like humans cannot. And then also doesn't make sense for humans to like doing all these calculations, because like human brains are not optimized for calculating things, especially when it comes to there are many, many metrics, performance metrics in ads that you need to take account into. Like good operators can do that fairly quickly, but the average one is going to take some time to do it, right? AI doesn't take much time to do it. It does it a couple actions per second for one campaign, or sorry, for a set of campaigns. So we definitely see a move into AI more than even Amazon is moving into that. Google have done that already 3 years ago with Performance Plus. Meta is doing the same thing. Everyone is going to AI. It's if I were to make an analogy, I don't know if we have any finance folks here. I was previously in the finance industry, and we all know trading has all gone algorithm many years ago, right? You don't actually have traders sitting in the trading floor much more, right? Most of these are now running with trading algorithm. Advertising is very similar to trading in the financial markets. It's you're looking at prices, right, in trading. Here we're looking at biddings, conversion rate, CTRs, ACoS. So I have no doubt more and more AI algorithms adoption will be adopted by customers, by advertisers, and then driving better results. Just because this task itself by nature is a number game, and then it's better done by AI, or maybe with AI and human, because humans still need to look after the strategy, look at a long-term approach. Where do you want to go? So that's where we see, yeah, because advertising is has long AI-fied, if I to use that word, from Google and Meta already.
Awesome. So now back to Jenny and your question, which was like, what are we
Yeah.
trained for? You said there's a couple on the PPC side, and then there's a bunch on the DSP.
Yes. So our sponsor ads data is trained based on what I said, the top performing campaigns. And then sponsor ads is relatively simple. It's really, for the most part, it's two goals. Is either you want to increase sales or you want to have increased ROAS. There are some occasions I want to have, for example, new to brand sales, which you may or may not be directly impact that using sponsor ads only. There are some ways to do it. And then in some other cases, you might also want to have higher SOVs, shared voice, or impression shares. Right? These two are kind of interchangeable sometimes. Depends on the goal. But in general, it's about either you want to increase sales, right, or I want to have a more higher ROAS. So that's where we define success. If you sales increase and also ROAS increase, that's clear a success to us. But at the end of the day, I know a lot of advertisers or just brands in general, they operate on taco spaces, not just ROAS spaces, because we not only want to look at ads, but also want to look at organic sales. So that's where I think humans or human operators come into play. Because when we do ads, there are only so many levers you can pull in ads. AI is not going to be able to run your promotion today, not yet. AI is not going to be able to know your competitors. Well, in some cases, yeah, but not as much as you know about competitors' strategy. It's not going to know your product that well versus human. So that's when you combine ads with promotions, with listing optimizations, all these things together, then you can achieve better results. So success, if I were to simplify it, it's really just um, sales and ROAS in advertising terms. But if we were to look at holistically, we're going to look at tacos, which is going to also factor into your promotion budget, your your competitor situation, a bunch of other factors.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And those who have joined like halfway through here, drop questions in the chat or the Q&A. We'll keep getting them answered. Awesome.
Cool. All right, so let me move on to the next one. Let's talk a little bit about AMC, and maybe we'll come back to AI a little bit even more. So AMC, I think, so like last year, Amazon has been blasting AMC all over. It's always, everywhere you go from Amazon, they are talking about AMC. So we have long adopted AMC into our product. Even today, AMC is still hard to use because of the interface Amazon has designed. It's mostly for data scientists or data analysts because you have to write SQL code. They only very recently they added a few models that are you have some kind of a GUI graphic user interface. But still, if you want to get really in-depth data from AMC, you have to still write some SQL code to do it. So there's a certain level of technical barrier there. So what we do, Xnurta, is we visualize all the AMC models out there, and you can do really, really in-depth analysis. So here I got three examples: multi-touch attribution, cross-product association, and customer lifetime value. We'll take maybe just multi-touch attribution example. Here you see a Markov chain here. So this is running a Markov chain based on all of your ad types: SP, SB, SD, DSP. And then running that Markov chain is going to be able to tell you, if I were to attribute using Markov chain method, whether my sales is going to be kind of reattributed differently. Like, for example, under the Amazon attribution, I might see 20% sales coming from DSP, but under Markov chain, that number might change, might be 30% of sales. With that insight, you can take a different length at your current budget allocation between all these ad types and decide maybe I should allocate a little bit more budget to DSP, for example, instead, because it's driving more sales than Amazon is telling me, right? Because in the ads business, attribution is always tricky, I would say. Like Amazon has 7-day default look back window for SP, 14 days for SB and SD, and also 14 days for DSP. My question is like, why don't we all look at 7 days or 14 days, right? Why are we looking at different look back windows for different ad types, right? So there's no clear scientific methodology around it. It's more about how you want to look at it. So Markov chain is one of the, I think, probably the most scientific model of looking at this that you can run, because it's going to tell you if I were to remove one of the ad types here, let's say if I remove DSP or if I remove SD, what is my conversion rates going to look like? What is my ROAS going to look like overall? So that gives you the most scientific view of kind of the situation here. And Amazon, by the way, also launched MTA attribution, but they didn't disclose which model they use. They use what they think is the best practice. And you can see that under the ads console, there's going to be a new column that says MTA attributed sales, right? So that's going to give you, and also ROAS. So it's going to give you also a different lens of looking at different ad types. So that's MTA. Cross-product lifetime value, I'm not going to go into the detail, but as you can see, these are the data you cannot get from the ads console because these data are much more granular and also much more holistic. Well, granular and holistic, but the granular data you can get from AMC can give you a more holistic view of all the all the ads and the customer shopping behaviors, because AMC is customer log level data. So whenever a customer click on certain ads or they click on certain detail page, or if they search a certain keywords, all these little actions are recorded as a log data in AMC. And with that huge amount of log data, we will be able to create these models and looking at the behavior and figure out some insights that can help you improve your ads performance. So that's AMC.
Are more people using AMC as a reporting tool or as a strategy tool for designing campaigns? Because it seems like there's up until, I don't know, maybe it was either late spring or early summer of
Hmm.
last year.
Yeah.
Amazon was just, AMC was kind of in, I don't know, it was in the background. It got randomly brought up. And then
Uh,
all of a sudden, you're right, it was literally everywhere. Every Amazon event, whether it's unboxed or accelerated, every time we talked to anybody, it was about AMC.
yeah.
But I guess at the end of the day, like, what are people using for? Is it for reporting? Because I can see, hey, I'm explaining stuff to upper management about what's working and what's not. The flip
Yeah.
side is, how do I use this to enable, my strategy as a whole?
Yeah. So AMC, interesting enough, there are two pieces of AMC here. I just touched on the analysis piece. So this part is mostly about measurements, reporting measurements. And there's another part of AMCs, which is audience. You can create audiences and then target them with DSP ads, or recently starting with sponsored product, sponsored brand, and sponsored display ads. So for the analysis piece, all these log level data we just talked about, it's mostly, I think, for measurement. And then the measurement means you can not only do a good reporting for the management, because you're gonna be able to tell the whole the whole story of kind of the performance, my customer lifetime value, this really cool metrics. But also at the same time, and then this is because kind of involving with all the use cases start to emerge with our current customers, that you see with these insights, customer take them back and optimize their ads. I'll give you an example here. We talked about running testing, like incrementality testing earlier. So what I can do with that is I can run, let's say I run a sponsor, let's say I run a Prime Video ads, right? And I run Prime Video ads together with all of my sponsor ads. And then with that data within AMC, you can see if I'm running Prime Video ads together with all the sponsored product ads running versus if I'm only running sponsored product ads, how that ROAS is going to look like for these two different conversion paths, right? So this conversion model where I can tell you the customers who first see a sponsor or first see a Prime Video ads and then see a sponsored product ads and convert it, what's the ROAS for them versus the customer who only sees sponsored product ads and convert it. So you can use that data to optimize your campaigns. This is essentially almost like an A/B testing, right? So sponsored product conversion, comparing that A/B testing that with whether having Prime Video ads in front of it would, with any incrementality there. So increasingly, we see that those use cases, and then we want to make the models to be more actionable. But I would say people first come to AMC data for measurements for reporting, and increasingly for more kind of actionable insights that can drive better performance. And then now to audience. Audience is entirely actionable. It's not about reporting at all because there's not much to report on if you don't have any audience. So creating audience, AMC audience, is going to give you the advantage of not only be very granular because the kind of the metrics is set up in AMC custom audience is more granular than the ones you can do with the DSP console. For example, you can do a lot of different type of retargeting within the AMC custom audience. For example, customer who have searched certain keywords and add to cart and view the product detail page, and you can add up those different conditions together and define an audience. And then even better today is that you can also target those audience, using sponsored product ads, sponsored brand ads, and sponsored display ads. So audience piece is more actionable. And we normally recommend customers who first onboard AMC is to use the audience feature to start generate some like performance improvements. But that's what we see so far with all the adoption there. But this space is constantly evolving and moving really fast. We see new use cases come out almost on a monthly basis.
And are you helping people then onboard? So I'm sitting back, I'm like, hey, I want my own instance on the marketing cloud. Maybe
Yeah.
my agency has it today. Are you helping people then do the onboarding? Because this is one more thing that I mean, people don't have the time to go in and just, a lot of people don't have the time to go around and just, mess around in here and click on different things. Is there like a
Yeah,
walkthrough? Hey, we use Xnurta to get on AMC, use all their, are you like walking people through that and train them on everything?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So if you work with us as a brand, as a seller, we have customer success team that's they are all trained to be the expert on AMC. We're gonna walk you through all the models that we have and also all the best practices that we see across our customer base and help you leverage AMC to improve ads performance. That's number one priority. And then depends on your needs. There's reporting, there's measurements. We can help you set up models and then try to kind of give you that tool so that you can self-service in the future. Uh, we also have last year we did a master class in New York with Amazon. We produced I think it was like 40-page kind of materials on AMC. It's the first of its kind. It's very detailed. It has many use cases in it. And we can also share those maybe after the meeting, see if folks are interested. Those are very in-depth material you probably don't see anywhere on the market today.
Yeah, we should do that, and we should do a full day event, like a similar
Yeah,
one. So everybody,
yeah,
if you're in New York City, we should set one of those up to do like a
so
full day, like deep dive workshop on all of this.
totally. Yeah, we did
Basically hands on, because that's where I'm
yeah,
getting like all of this. I mean, and I want to keep going and dig in because I love where this is going, but I don't know how much more there is on your slide deck, but around, the future of AI in the space, because we're at a point now where it's changing so fast.
yeah.
It's hard just to even keep up with it. But anyways, um,
Yep. So this is my last slide, the next frontier. So this is one of the screenshots that's something we're working on that you are the audience that's seeing this for the first time. We have not disclosed this page to anyone else yet. It's purely internal. So this page, what we're building here is what we call reporting agents. And I know might be a little bit small here, but it's kind of intentional. So it does have a lot of the design detail here. So what I'm showing you is what we call Xnurta deep research. I don't know how many in the audience that have used either OpenAI's deep research or who else? Perplexity's deep research or Google Gemini's deep research. It's a very similar feature to that, but let me describe it to you. What it does is it's going to research a bunch of materials and then think for on average about 10 minutes. So the AI is going to think for 10 minutes. That's almost an internal timing AI calculation time. Think for 10 minutes and then generates a report, a very in-depth report. It's going to be oftentimes thousands of words, a very long, in-depth report. And what you see here, this is what we are working on. This is with one of the customer account. We block the name so that you don't see it. This is all real data, and this is generated by one of the large language models that we're testing. Actually, multiple different language models, because some of these have ability to generate charts and tables. So some of them don't. So what this is about is what we call one click and generate your weekly report, WBRs, MBRs, or QBRs. And then you can do this at account level or at ASIN level, depends on kind of your use cases. So let's say, for example, I want to generate a report based on the January 2025 data. And then here are the topics that AI is suggesting. You can change the topic, can edit the kind of the plan, the report or outlines. And then once you change those topics, you hit generate report. It's going to think for about 10 minutes. And it's going to generate this beautiful reporting kind of documents. And then you can either open them in Google Doc or whatever your choice, download them. And then you can decide whether you want to include those talking points into your weekly reporting process or monthly reporting process. And then what we see today with the latest frontier models is that the report generated by the models is so in depth that we think it's probably the quality of the report is probably better than half of the advertisers out there when they're doing this, because we also have a huge kind of a library of reports that our customers generated. We compare the quality, the depth of those reports. So this is where the part we sometimes we're super excited about this feature, but also a little bit scared, just in terms of how good the AI models has gotten to. So think about how much time you put on working on reporting. I know brands maybe less, but agency does spend a lot of time on reporting. Brands probably spend, I don't know, like 20% of the time on putting together reports. This is including downloading the data, organizing the tables and charts, and then thinking about interpreting all these data and then put them into a logical storytelling kind of fashion and then presenting them to either senior management, to your managers, or to your clients. But AI can do this within 10 minutes for a monthly WBR or MBR. So this is something that we're working on. So if we were to zoom out a little bit, right, looking at the entire advertising workflow, which goes from starting from planning and then analysis, you're analyzing performance data, and then you optimize it, changing bids, changing budgets, working on keywords, and then you observe the performance and you go back to planning, right? This workflow cycle. In the past, we were able to automate optimization with our optimization agents. Now, starting in really December 2024, when the OpenAI O1 model come out, we can do reasoning, then reporting and analysis can also be done entirely automatically by AI. So this is, to me, almost like a bicycle. So you don't have to interpret all these data, right? You just ask AI to do it for you, and then you look at the report and decides which directions you want to go. You want to deep dive and can continue to communicate, to converse, have a conversation with AI to deep dive into specific areas. And so you be kind of the manager versus you have a few. This is like a junior and an analyst on your team that can do reporting within 10 minutes.
It's
That's
awesome.
Yeah. This is something that we are also a little bit scared about because this is looking like a junior to mid-level advertiser, traders.
Um, so just a reminder, if others have questions, drop them in there. I'm going to bring up a question around a conversation that I was just having, with a local educator. So follow with me for a second here. Is this thought that they're seeing right now is that we're drifting away from a written society back to an oral society where it's spoken word. And so this brings up, voice commerce, and something that Amazon was like, obviously thought of way back when they launched the first Alexa. But if we
Yeah.
look at all these new, on top of Siri, they're not all AI platforms and personal assistants. Like, any thoughts around like that next frontier?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so Amazon with Alexa, right? And then I think you're probably referring to Alexa and the shopping via voice increasingly. So Amazon voice Alexa shopping was launched back in 2019 when I was still at Amazon at the time. And I actually have friends and team members that used to work at Amazon, Alexa shopping before. At the time, I think it was not a very successful like product in terms of the adoption because just not a lot of people at the time really wants to shop just by talking to Alexa, for example. Um, and I think the reason for that is at the time, the AI model or the AI conversation capability is not there yet, right? It's not that smart at the time. And the customer are not used to this kind of shopping behavior just by commanding, just by voice out, the things I want to buy online. But right now, with all these large language models coming out and all these applications will be built based on those large language models, the people are getting more and more comfortable just talking to the software or maybe typing to the software instead of clicking and looking, browsing. So customer behavior has to change before this voice shopping become a mainstream thing, in my opinion. Um, but we do see customer behavior change, right? Like there are already some massively adopted software, for example, Apple Intelligence, on every iPhones, and then more and more softwares are having a voice interface, then customer behavior is gonna slowly shift, slowly change. It's gonna take some time. And when that changes, then the shopping behavior will also change because the way that we interact with software is gonna change in the future. But some of the implications for advertisers, I think, is we need to start thinking about we could use call SEOs, right? Search engine optimization. Now we need to think about not search engine optimization, maybe like voice model or large language model optimization. So you need to have optimize your listings, optimize your keywords so that they show up when you're having conversation with large language models, such as Rufus on Amazon. That's a great example there.
Ah, awesome. I'm looking at to see if hey, if there's other questions, you can drop them in there. I do want to kick it over to you, Matt, for some like key takeaways and thoughts. But to everybody on the line, worth a follow-up conversation with Matt and the team at Xnurta. They're great friends, partners, supporters of the network. They're cutting edge in this AI space. I'd love to have a conversation with you as well. There's a lot of other like new tech that's popping up, whether it's content generation or reviews. There's a lot of other things on Amazon, the direct to consumer side, the Walmart side. More than happy to share what some of those other very, very new, very popular AI tools that are popping up that makes managing your digital business a lot easier. So more than happy to share any of those. So look for a follow-up email from me. Are there like Matt, like key takeaways as we wrap up here? Like what
Yeah.
should people be thinking about?
Yeah, I think let's maybe rewind a little bit the topics we talked about today. I think we first talked about full funnels. And this is by case, by scenario, depends on how much you spend, what's your current brand awareness on either on and off Amazon, whether you can achieve better performance through DSP ads, for example. But the broader feedback or implications that we see is that DSP now has higher ROAS than sponsor ads, given the competitiveness on different ad types is changing. So that's number one. And number two, with DSP, we have to talk about AMC because measurements, incrementality, other things that comes to mind. If I run DSP, whether it's going to actually bring incremental sales with the budget or with a good ROAS, right? So AMC is almost a must-have these days to fully understand full funnel advertising on Amazon. That's number two. But I think last but not least is AI. So um, so AI is really changing our industry. When we started out X Mars or now Xnurta, we think of ourselves as a AI native software. But by then, there wasn't large language models, or maybe it wasn't popular by then. We started almost 3, 4 years ago when we first developed the software, write the first line of code of XMRs at the time. There are just not a lot of like technology around that you can, let's do analysis the way large language model can do today. But when we started out, we already know this is going to be the future of advertising because we see from Google, from Meta, and increasingly from Amazon, and also just if you look at broader the things that advertisers are doing, especially when it comes to optimization, is repetitive in many ways, and also the analogy to trading, financial trading on the financial market is also kind of pointing out the way, right? This is the way. It's going to be algorithms in the future versus human traders on the trading floor. This is going to happen to advertising as well. So AI is going to become increasingly important, but it's a tool. It's not something that it's not advertising product. It's really just a tool to be competitive, to stay competitive, and to stay, just be on kind of the forefront of the industry. Adopting AI is, I think, it's more important than ever. Because we always say this, and you probably heard this from all these AI companies out there, is that AI is not going to replace you, but the person who knows how to use AI is going to replace you, which we really think is true. None of the things that we do here are going to be able to replace advertisers at all because you still need someone to operate AI. or need someone to think about the strategy, think about high-level goals. But the more junior, mid-level, especially on junior level advertisers will increasingly become, replaceable by AI. This is already true in the coding, in the software industry. We see a lot of, programmers, software engineers starting to kind of, the AI is getting better and better to be on par with the junior programmers, for example. So this is happening in advertising industry as well. So the future is both exciting and a little bit scary, in my opinion. But we're overall very optimistic because once we can help customers adopt AI and really kind of master the tool, then everyone's going to be lifted, right? Because there are just so many things to do in e-commerce. Advertising is really on one aspect of it. There are so many other aspects that's high leverage that requires more attention that you can put your work to, and then AI is not going to replace those anytime soon.
Well, Matt, thanks so much for your time today. Thanks everybody for the great questions, for the attendance here. Again, encourage you to have a follow-up conversation if you have more questions around this space at all with Matt. Also, look for a follow-up email from me. I'd love to set up a few minutes to chat with you, pick your brain on the newest things you're seeing, but also share with you the newest things like in Xnurta, across the board that the rest of the network is kind of rising to the top and kind of sending my way. So more than happy to share on any of that. But with that, we're going to wrap up this webinar here. Thanks again, Matt. Everybody take care, stay safe. Look forward to having you at a future event. Alrighty, we'll see you, my friend.
Yeah.